What drives a man to become one of history's most feared rulers? How does a young prince transform into a Tsar so powerful and terrifying that even his allies trembled at his name? Today, we're diving deep into the life of Ivan IV of Russia, better known as Ivan the Terrible, a man whose legacy is as dark as it is fascinating. Born into a world of violence and political intrigue, Ivan was crowned Grand Prince of Moscow at just 3 years old, following the sudden death of his father, Vasily III. From that moment, Ivan's life became a battle for survival. His mother, Elena Glinskaya, ruled as regent, but in the power-hungry corridors of the Kremlin, her position was tenuous. Rival boyars, Russian nobles, sought control, using intimidation, deceit, and even assassination to pursue their ambitions. At only 8 years old, Ivan witnessed his mother's sudden and mysterious death, most likely a poisoning orchestrated by those very boyars. Left alone, Ivan was thrust into the clutches of these ruthless nobles who neglected, humiliated, and isolated him. Imagine a young child surrounded by adults who saw him as nothing more than a pawn, enduring neglect and abuse at every turn. This was his world, his reality, and in it, a fire was kindled, a fire that would grow into an insatiable hunger for control and vengeance. But Ivan was not a helpless boy for long. By 16, he took matters into his own hands and declared himself Tsar of all Russia, a title that transformed him from a mere ruler to a near-divine autocrat. Ivan wasn't simply a king, he was an emperor, ordained by God and untouchable by mortal men. This unprecedented title set the stage for Ivan's rule and symbolized the beginning of a centralized Russian state. Ivan's youth and early reign. Despite his troubled childhood, Ivan was an astute, visionary leader in his early years. He recognized Russia's potential to be more than just a fractured land ruled by nobles. He dreamed of a unified empire, vast and powerful. To realize this, Ivan reformed the military, restructured the government, and developed laws aimed at unifying his people. He established the Streltsy, an elite corps of musketeers loyal to the Tsar, who would become the backbone of his military might. Ivan also focused on cultural and religious growth, commissioning the iconic St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow, a marvel of Russian architecture that stands to this day as a symbol of his reign. But this period of reform and progress was short-lived. Darkness was never far from Ivan's mind, and when tragedy struck, his benevolent side began to erode. In 1560, Ivan's beloved first wife, Anastasia Romanovna, died unexpectedly. She was his confidant, his guiding light, and the woman he loved dearly. Her death devastated Ivan, but more than that, it ignited a dangerous paranoia within him. Convinced that she had been poisoned, possibly by the boyars, Ivan turned inward, withdrawing from those he once trusted. With Anastasia's death, a crueler side of Ivan emerged, one that would soon plunge Russia into terror. The Oprichniki. In 1565, Ivan instituted the Oprichniki, a policy of absolute power where he claimed lands, wealth, and authority, creating a state within a state. He recruited his infamous Oprichniki, a secret police force dressed in black robes adorned with symbols of the executioner. These men rode black horses, each bearing a broom and a dog's head to symbolize Ivan's intent to sweep away the filth of traitors from Russia. The Oprichniki wielded unchecked power and answered solely to Ivan. They tortured, executed, and confiscated lands from those suspected of disloyalty, decimating the aristocracy. Their reign of terror extended far beyond punishing the boyars. Towns were decimated, and entire populations were displaced or killed. The Russian people suffered profoundly under Ivan's paranoia-fueled crackdown, and the Oprichniki's brutal tactics became a terrifying fixture of Ivan's Russia. Ivan's ruthlessness was unprecedented. He destroyed entire towns on mere suspicions, with the most notorious case being the massacre of Novgorod. Believing that the city's leaders plotted against him, Ivan unleashed the Oprichniki upon its people. Thousands were slaughtered, their homes burned, and any potential resistance crushed. His brutality was not only a display of power but a chilling message to all: defy the Tsar, and you would face unimaginable consequences. Personal paranoia and family tragedies. Beneath the iron exterior, Ivan's insecurities festered. Convinced of endless conspiracies against him, Ivan's mistrust extended even to his own family. This paranoia came to a tragic climax in 1581, when Ivan killed his own son and heir, Ivan Ivanovich, in a fit of rage. The incident reportedly began as a heated argument over Ivan's treatment of his pregnant daughter-in-law, whom he had beaten, causing her to miscarry. Enraged, his son confronted him, and in a violent outburst, Ivan struck him with his iron-tipped staff, killing him. This act shattered Ivan. He mourned his son deeply, regretting what he had done. The image of the grieving father, holding the lifeless body of his son, is immortalized in one of Russia's most haunting paintings, Ivan the Terrible and his son Ivan. This moment was a bitter culmination of his inner demons, a symbol of the tragic consequences of his unbridled wrath. Military campaigns and expansion of Russia. Yet even amid this darkness, Ivan continued his mission to expand Russia's influence. He led military campaigns against the Kazan and Astrakhan Khanates, incorporating these territories into his empire and solidifying Russia's dominance over the Volga River. These victories were pivotal, not only for their territorial gains but because they established Ivan's vision of a Russia that would stretch across vast lands, a unified empire. But Ivan's ambitions were also costly. His wars against the Livonian Order drained Russia's resources and decimated its population. The constant military campaigns took a toll on his people, leaving famine and destruction in their wake. Russia was pushed to its limits, both economically and socially, under Ivan's relentless expansion efforts. The final days. As Ivan aged, his health deteriorated, but his cruelty did not. He became a broken man, tormented by the ghosts of his past, both the people he had lost and those he had destroyed. His illnesses grew, his strength waned, and in 1584, Ivan died, leaving Russia scarred by his reign. His death marked the end of a tumultuous era, but his impact on Russian history was far from over. Ivan's rule laid the foundation for future Russian autocrats. The centralization of power, the fierce loyalty demanded by the state, and the use of brutal force to achieve dominance, all of these became defining features of Russian governance in the centuries that followed. Ivan showed the world a new type of ruler, one willing to use terror as a tool for unity, who saw fear as a necessary currency to cement his rule. Legacy. So, what is Ivan's legacy? Was he a visionary, a man who transformed Russia into a powerful state? Or was he a madman, consumed by his own fears and insecurities, who left a trail of blood in his pursuit of control? The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between. Ivan the Terrible was both a creator and a destroyer, a man who built an empire while leaving behind a legacy of terror. To this day, Ivan's story is one of the most captivating in Russian history, a reminder of how absolute power can shape, twist, and ultimately consume a man. Ivan was not merely a ruler, he was a force, a man who embodied the very soul of Russia in all its complexity, its glory, and its darkness. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time.